Lesson 43. Memorable people. Basic patterns. Jeff was the funniest guy in our class. The whole town thought Jim was a good mayor. I'm glad to see that you still remember me. How could I forget my favorite college professor? Alfred was the tallest guy in our school. Hector was the worst employer I ever had. Our nation owes a lot to Martin Luther King Jr. Susan was the prettiest girl in our town. Karen had a beautiful singing voice. He helped many people in his long career. Have you kept in touch with many of your old classmates? There is one person I'm positive I'll recognize. Nevertheless, she is someone I'll never forget. This autograph is worth a lot because he's such a memorable figure in baseball and African American history. His courage won't be forgotten. Dialogue 1.
I'm so excited.
Why are you so excited?
Tomorrow is my class reunion.
Your class reunion for what?
My high school graduating class.
Have you kept in touch with many of your old classmates?
Not really. It's been very difficult to stay in touch because I've moved around a lot since graduation.
That's a shame. How long has it been since you've seen these people?
Since graduation day?
And when was that?
10 years ago. This is my 10-year class reunion.
It's been a long time. Do you think you'll remember everyone?
No, but there's one person I'm positive I'll recognize.
Who was that?
Patricia.
Why her?
Because she was my best friend and a big part of my high school experience. We did everything together.
What kinds of things did you do together?
We did cheerleading, field hockey, chorus, and lots of other things.
Sounds like you were close.
We were just like sisters.
Why didn't you stay friends?
The distance between us made it too difficult. She went to college in California, and I went to college in New York.
That's a shame.
Nevertheless, she is someone I'll never forget. I hope she will be at the reunion because I'm really looking forward to seeing her.
Dialogue 2.
What are you doing, Jake?
I'm organizing my autograph collection.
I didn't know that you were into collecting autographs.
I've done it since I was a kid.
Who do you collect autographs from?
Lots of different kinds of people. Almost anyone who is famous.
Give me some examples.
I have autographs from movie stars, television personalities, sports stars, and politicians.
Which one's your favorite?
My favorite is an autographed baseball signed by Jackie Robinson.
Who's Jackie Robinson?
I can't believe that you don't know who Jackie Robinson is. He's famous.
I'm sorry, but I don't keep up with sports.
Jackie Robinson was the first black man to play professional baseball.
But there are lots of black baseball players now. Why couldn't they play before?
Because people were very prejudiced, and professional baseball players had to be white. Jackie Robinson was the first man to challenge that discrimination.
He must have been very courageous.
He was. Lots of people hated him, and he even got death threats.
That's amazing. Now people must really admire him.
Yes, that's why I was so determined to get his autograph.
Where do you keep it?
In a locked case to make sure it is safe. This autograph is worth a lot because he's such a memorable figure in baseball and African American history.
How could you afford it?
I had to save up a lot of money and also sell off some of my other autographs, but it was worth it because he's one of my heroes. Dialogue 3.
Would you do me a favor?
Ask away.
Would you mail a letter for me tomorrow?
I'd like to, but I can't.
Why not?
Because tomorrow is Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, and all the post offices will be closed.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'd be happy to mail it for you the next day.
That's okay. I'll be able to do it then.
Martin Luther King Jr. has always been a hero of mine.
Me too, but I think almost everyone in the country knows what an important figure he was.
Yes, it took a lot of courage to be a leader in the civil rights movement.
It takes a special kind of person to stand up for what they believe in. Equal rights for everyone meant a lot to him.
He was very strong to stand up against prejudice, even though people threatened both him and his family. Did you know that some hateful people even threatened to kill his children if he didn't back down?
I've heard that. I think his greatest contribution was to advocate peaceful protests and demonstrations.
He maintained that love and respect would overcome hate and prejudice.
He was also a magnificent speaker. Everyone said how powerful his voice was, and it could really move people.
It was horrible when he died.
I can't believe that someone could be so full of hate as to shoot him.
That was a defining moment in American history because we lost one of our great leaders too early.
I don't think this country should ever forget his contribution.
His courage won't be forgotten. That's why we celebrate his birthday as a national holiday. Substitutions. 1. Have you kept in touch with many of your old classmates? Have you kept in contact with many of your old classmates? Have you stayed up to date with many of your old classmates? Have you remained friends with many of your old classmates? 2. It's been very difficult to stay in touch because I've moved around a lot since graduation. It's been very difficult to stay in touch because I don't know how to contact them. It's been very difficult to stay in touch because lots of them have moved away. It's been very difficult to stay in touch because I've lost their phone numbers. 3. How long has it been since you've seen these people? When did you last see these people? Has it been long since you saw them? Can you recall the last time you saw them? 4. No, but there is one person I'm positive I'll recognize. No, but there is one person I'm positive I'll know. No, but there is one person I'm positive I'll make out. No, but there is one person I'm positive I'll identify. 5. Sounds like you were close. Sounds like you were devoted to each other. Sounds like you knew each other well. Sounds like you couldn't be separated. 6. We were just like sisters. We were like two peas in a pod. As close as two people can be. It was like we shared one brain. 7. I didn't know that you were into collecting autographs. I didn't know that you were interested in collecting autographs. I didn't know that you were drawn to collecting autographs. I didn't know that your hobby was collecting autographs. 8. Give me some examples. What, for instance? Like who? Anyone I would know? 9. I'm sorry, but I don't keep up with sports. I'm sorry, but I don't know much about sports. I'm sorry, but I don't read up on sports. I'm sorry, but I don't think much about sports. 10. Jackie Robinson was the first man to challenge that discrimination. Jackie Robinson was the first man to challenge that prejudice. Jackie Robinson was the first man to challenge that inequality. Jackie Robinson was the first man to challenge that bigotry. 11. In a locked case, to make sure it is safe. In a locked case, to make sure it is protected. In a locked case, to make sure it is out of harm's reach. In a locked case, to make sure it is beyond danger. 12. Ask away. Feel free. Don't hesitate. Don't think twice about it. 13. Martin Luther King Jr. has always been a hero of mine. Martin Luther King Jr. has always been an idol to me. Martin Luther King Jr. has always been someone I respect. Martin Luther King Jr. has always been the man I admire the most. 14. It takes a special kind of person to stand up for what they believe in. It takes a special kind of person to stand up for their convictions. It takes a special kind of person to stand up for their principles. It takes a special kind of person to stand up for what they think is right. 15. That was a defining moment in American history because we lost one of our great leaders too early. That was a defining moment in American history because we lost one of our great leaders prematurely. That was a defining moment in American history because we lost one of our great leaders before his time. That was a defining moment in American history because we lost one of our great leaders when we needed him most. Monologue. Martin Luther King Jr. is a very important figure in American history. In addition to being a minister, he was a major leader of the Civil Rights Movement. The Civil Rights Movement was an organized action by African Americans in the 1950s and 1960s to petition for equal rights. Up until that time, legalized discrimination forced them to go to separate schools from whites and even made them sit in the back of trains and buses. It was even illegal for blacks to use the same public restrooms and water fountains as white people. The Civil Rights Movement sought to change all this and give blacks equal treatment under the law. King advocated nonviolent means of protest against injustice, such as peaceful demonstrations like marches and sit-ins. A sit-in was an organized effort where blacks would sit in restaurants that refused to serve black people. They wouldn't damage anything or attack anyone. They would just peacefully remain in silent protest. King was seen as such a strong leader that those prejudiced people who wanted to stop the civil rights movement targeted him. He received numerous death threats against himself and his family, and the church he preached at was bombed. None of these things deterred him. Finally, in 1968, King paid the ultimate sacrifice to his cause when a man assassinated him. For all his efforts and wisdom, Americans celebrate his birthday as a national holiday to remember the man and all that he stood for.